been watching the newest season of Love is Blind with my girl. This is the thing about that show, right? I think the show is, in theory, a good idea, right? What if by chance we got out of our own way, right? Because most of dating is swipes now. Like a good portion of how people meet is dwarfed. Online dwarfs every other version of meeting. Like meeting at a bar, meeting at work, all that stuff like that. Meeting online is way, way bigger. So a big part of how we feel about each other and how we feel about ourselves when it comes to dating is completely and totally dictated by bots. I know we don't think it's bots, but it is. Like, most of these platforms are flooded with bots because if they can keep you on the platform, they keep your money, right? So better to have a couple bots entertain you and waste your time for a little bit so you think that something's going somewhere while maybe you work it out with a real person or maybe not. But either way, we've got your money. It's like a gym membership, right? You ever try to cancel a gym membership? I remember I had a gym membership. That's one of the few things that seems obscure that like Biden was trying to get on that I was really excited about. Because the Biden administration was basically like, anything that took your credit card for you to start the membership should be just as easy to get out of, just as easy to opt out of, right? Because there are some things that aren't. There were a lot of gyms back in the day where you could go up there and sign up that day, all right? And then be like, okay, I'm a member of this gym and I'll buy 5 months outright because you're doing 2 months free or whatever. So I'll be a member for 7 months. That's most of the year. I gotta get sexy by then. And so you do this like 5-month fee and maybe you do it in one lump sum or maybe they keep charging your card every month at some discount or whatever. But then at month 6, you're like, it's not working. I keep coming once a week and pushing 3 things and nothing is changing. I don't think I'm gonna get sexy on the right timeline. And I don't wanna be a member of this gym for 40 years, so you know what? I'm gonna cancel it. I'm gonna cancel my membership. And so then you go there, and this happened to me. You go to the gym, and you're like, I would like to cancel my membership. And at first they try to fight you. First they're like, no, you were just getting sexy, dog. We all noticed it. There was one day we were changing the towels. We were like, damn, I remember when he came in January. It's March. What a difference. And I'm like, I'm flattered, but I don't feel very sexy. And the scale says I weigh the same. So I'd like to cancel my membership. And they're like, dang, dog, I'm sorry to hear that. I really am. You know, we love having you around and everything. And like, you know, it's just your presence lights this place up. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, we see you, dog. We see you when you struggling, when you struggling to do that, like clean and snatch. You know what I mean? When you got the bar here and you trying to, Whenever you're doing this, we laugh. It's such a great day. We gonna miss you, man. You sure you want to do this? Yeah, I gotta do it. I gotta end my membership. And they're like, okay, all right. Well, it's a shame because you can't end your membership here. And I'm like, what? Like, yeah, we don't do that here. I'm like, what do you mean? This is where I came to start my membership. This is where I exercised my membership. How can I not end my membership? No, there's a whole process and everything, you know. So basically, you gotta write a letter saying like how you're not sexy and stuff, and then you gotta mail that letter. Okay, you gotta mail that letter to our headquarters. Our headquarters will then let us know. And also, you can't just mail it to the headquarters. You also have to call in and be like, guys, I don't want to be sexy anymore. And then you have to call before your letter gets to the headquarters, because if it gets there first, it sort of invalidates your call. So you have to make sure you call, and it's best to call while the person at HR at headquarters is holding your letter. I know you won't have any idea when that is, but try. Just call a lot, call consistently until maybe you call and they're holding it and they're like, oh, is this you? Yes, it's me. I would like to never be sexy. And so then And so then what they'll do is they'll call us, and we still won't cancel it. We'll just know that you're a quitter. And so then after they call us, we will call the department, which is a third party that actually handles our memberships, and tell them to take you off of the mailing list, just the mailing list. But eventually, once you've been off the mailing list for long enough, we'll stop charging your card. This seems like it should be illegal. Because it's a process that sounds like it's going to take years. There was such a long process, and then they said I was no longer a member. I had stopped going, and then I saw where they still charged me. I called them, and that called them at the gym, and they were like, no, you got to call headquarters. So I called headquarters, and I waited, and I waited, and I waited, and then someone finally got on the line being like, hey, I was about to take my break. Because the whole plan there is just to frustrate you so much so that you end up keeping it. Because what they want you to do is to still have it, and it's so hard to get rid of that eventually you go one day, and as soon as you go, you've basically renewed your membership and everything. They just want any way possible to squeeze as much money out of the people that are going, right? And so that's one of the things that Biden was like, oh, we gotta stop this, you gotta make it clickable. You know what I mean? You gotta make it just so that, did you click to start the membership? You should click to end the membership. It's wow, what a novel concept. You know what I mean? That's the type of thinking that comes from a man who doesn't have a lot of time to mess around. You know what I mean? He's let's get right to it, But that's what the dating platforms do. They just don't want you to cancel, right? And they've come up with tiers. They've come up with little systems to get extra money out of you. Super swipes, double super swipes, thirst trap swipe. All these little ways that maybe you can find someone. And even when you find someone, you're not finding someone. You're just allowed to start a conversation now. And so what if we got out of our own way? What if that really happened? Where people who genuinely wanted to find someone and didn't want to have any barriers on them, any sort of expectations or even some of their own preferences, right? Just wanted to get to know a person just as they are, right? We're just going to talk. And what if we talked for so long, so many times, that we covered the amount of talking that it usually takes people in the real world months to cover? Because you know what it's like. You go on that first date. That first date is all surface level, if it's even true. It's I try to be myself. I want everybody to feel comfortable being themselves. But as long as we're lying, we're lying. You know what I mean? If you're going to lie, I got to lie. I can't just show up being vulnerable and then you lie and then I look like a monster. So yeah, if you're going to lie, then I got to lie, You're going to lie about the degree you have. I got to lie about having a job. I got to make sure that we fit each other's, each other's lies. And then you get to the truth. And sometimes truth is very disappointing because sometimes, whether it's your fault or of no fault of your own, you've built up an idea of who a person is. And that idea of who they are sometimes trumps the person that you see in front of you. So then you see the real person when you can't do it anymore. You know what I mean? One of the things the police used to do back when everybody was writing checks and check fraud was this big thing because people con artists would get really talented at copying somebody's signature. When they thought that somebody might be one of these people, what they would do is they'd have them write something, but they wouldn't just have them write it once because you could pretend to be someone else one time, 2 times, 3 times. They would have somebody, almost like when you got punished in school, they had to write the thing 50 times. And over time, you could see whether the person was bored or they just started getting in their head. Eventually, their true handwriting would show. And that's what we do when we get to know a person. After 3 months, you're like, look. There's a lot I didn't tell you about because I want you to stay. You ever been dating somebody and then 2 months and you're like, who is this person? It's no, this person is the person. I don't know. Sorry, you aren't dating who you thought. And so then you get all this talking. You get all this genuine quality time together, right? and I like this person, and so maybe this is my person, right? And how long would it take if all we did was talk, if all we did was really get to know each other? How long would it really take for us to fall in love with a person? Probably as long as production allows, you know what I mean? But like, but still, you see these people on this show, and within 9 days of being on the show and being in the pods, they're talking about I love you to this person that they've never seen, that they've never met, but they've talked so much. And a part of you thinks this person's dumb, this person's crazy. I don't think they are. I think if you got to do a deep dive into a person, you could find whether or not you like really loved everything about this person, how their mind works, their sense of humor, all the little push and pull that the relationship has, you know? And then they do the reveal, which is usually where things go awry. Because it's hard to get out of your own way, and it's hard to change your nature, especially in 9 days, right? And so then sometimes they do this reveal. If you never watched the show, they're in the pods, and they chat, and they chat, and they chat, and then people are picking each other as they're chatting. And you're really picking off a personality. You don't know what this person is like, you know? Sometimes you're watching the show, and you're like, these two look like they would go together in the real world, and they're not picking each other now. That's so interesting, right? Then they do the reveal. The reveal is like, they're across a hallway with this carpet and the doors open and they see each other for the first time. And, you know, a lot of times it goes great. They get really excited. Oh, I happen to be in love with a person who happens to be beautiful. What a bonus. And then sometimes you can tell, you can see it on the person that they're like, ooh. I am not blind. Because you got to understand, whether you've watched the show or not, it must be a lot. It must be a lot to like have someone talking to you the way that they talk to each other. They are talking to each other the way that we imagine our great-grandparents talk to each other. Like before devices got involved, right? When you really had to miss someone. And you really got to know them. And you didn't even know that many people. You know? Your great-great-grandparents might have only known 200 people in life. And they pick one of those people, so you're not even doing the same comparison stuff we do. We're spoiled for choice, or at least the illusion of choice. Because we're like, no, I could get anybody. That's what you think, because then you match with them and you're like, damn, okay. You know? And it's tough because dudes are the ones that fall for bots the most. We really are. Like, we get botted hard. Our friends will tell us it's a bot, and we'll be like, maybe. Maybe. Or maybe she's just into me. Maybe y'all just can't handle it. It's like, she keeps asking for your social security number. And for you to send her money through PayPal. Maybe she's going through a rough time, dog. I don't know. You ever thought of that? You ever thought about sometimes beautiful people are down on their luck? Because we all know it's beautiful people who never get anything for free. You know? But yeah, you see it. You see it on them, right? Because they were talking to each other so wild. I love you. They propose before they're allowed to see each other. You know what I mean? They propose in the pods. You propose to this idea of a person, someone that you think that you could love for the rest of your life, right? And they are talking to each other the way our great-great-grandparents talked to. I'm talking about Civil War love letter talking to each other. You know those old Civil War letters? You ever read some of them? Oh, it's astounding. Dear Jebediah. I miss you terribly. And I can't wait to once again feel the brush of your long beard upon my face. I hope and pray for the day that I see you on the horizon and know that you are home for good. Love, Magnolia. Like, they would just, they used to be named after flowers back then for no reason. There's a bunch of roses and magnolias and tulips and stuff. And sometimes, you know, I've read some of these letters and I've watched documentaries about, you know, people that they've honed in on that we know the most about and everything. Sometimes those letters got nasty. Every once in a while, those letters... My dearest Magnolia. This war is a burden upon my soul. What keeps my fire alight is thinking of your warm embrace. I shudder to think if this letter is read by anybody but its intended. But know that your beloved keeps your handkerchief close by at all times. Your dearest Jebediah. With the long D. No, it's tough because they've said so many things to each other in these pods. They seem to mean them, right? Because that's the other thing you can suss out a little bit more. When you're not swayed by someone's looks, what they just say, what does that mean? And you can really talk the thing out, whatever it is, right? And they see each other, and sometimes it goes well, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes this engagement falls apart right after, soon after. Sometimes they, say no. I can't marry you, right? Watching this season, I don't know. Everything I'm saying applies to the entirety of the idea. So it's not about any one person or group or season. It's just like that idea, like what happens if we get out of our own way, But it's also hard because this is my thing about that show, is that by and large, every season of it I've seen, they are picking pretty good-looking people. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're picking people who these are gorgeous people, right? They have yet to pick someone that I'm really like, Is nobody gonna tell them? Do you know what I mean? I just want, this is where I lose you. Okay. I just want there to be like one season, because what happens is, and they've like done whole survey studies, they've interviewed people who've studied relationships, have talked about this stuff for a very long time, right? I'm not just saying, oh, trust me, it's science. I'm saying, like, you can look it up for yourself. When it comes to like long-term relationships, right? Relationships that are supposed to last to the end of your life, let's say you get married in your 30s, right? That they found that like women are, by and large, better partners to have, right? And it's because of the things that nurture a relationship are the things that women are usually the ones doing, right? Not saying there aren't great boyfriends and husbands out there. I'm just saying that like usually what upholds and keeps a relationship going is like some of the action, some of the planning, some of the thinking of the women in those relationships, okay? And this isn't to paint anyone as an angel either. I know relationships end for all sorts of reasons. It's just that like we all have our preferences, right? Every single one of us. And I don't necessarily think that that's a bad thing, We all have our you might want the person that you end up with, no matter who you date, no matter who you love, to at least have like a head. That would be nice. A head would be nice. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm not trying to... You would assume they have a head. And then as long as they have a head, there might be things that you like about the face on that head. And then you pick and you pick and you pick and you find the people, whatever. But just sometimes whenever people are in a noble pursuit, how they get there is not always questioned because the pursuit is noble, right? And so because so many people are trying to find their forever person, the ways in which that they are shallow sometimes don't get addressed as much because the overall pursuit is noble, right? It's much easier to come down on someone who's just like hardcore participating in like hookup culture for being shallow because we can just cast away the whole idea as trashy, right? But when someone's looking for like long-term love and they're being shallow, it's just kind of harder to call them out because they're looking for their forever person anyway, right? So it's just one season of Love is Blind. I would just love if they do the regular show. You can even pick all the good-looking people that you want. That's fine. Just pick all good-looking people. And I want good dudes, by the way. Real good dudes. Like good dudes where you do the research. He volunteers and he donates to the charities and he taking care of somebody sick. Really good dudes, right? But then when they do the reveal, right? And the doors open and they're standing across from each other, I just want every single one, every one of those dudes to be short. That would be great. That would be fire. That would be so good. And I don't mean short as in like 5'8". I don't mean regular height, but calling them short because your friends are tall. I'm talking about cartoonishly short. I want these dudes, I'm talking about the 4'11s of the world. I want these dudes to be so excited and so little that when they're running to their bride, they really got to do that step. You know what I'm talking about? You know when somebody real short, they need the extra steps, and so and she just, and they meet up in the middle, and they propose before they get to see each other. Sometimes they propose again as soon as they meet each other, right? You know, they propose, and since the beginning of the show, she's been saying, I just want to find love. Okay. Found him. He go to propose. He ain't got a kneel. No, just really test it. See if his love is blind.
Thank you for coming out on this exceptionally hot summer. This is genuinely crazy. This is like, this is bad. It's bad. Like when you walk outside, you don't even appreciate the sunlight. You know what I mean? Like, it's beautiful out and you're like, oh God. This is the type of weather where you're like, Greta was right. We might be doomed. We should have been listening when she was sailing or whatever the first thing she said was. This is really bad. This is the type of weather where it's so hot you start getting weird offers. Like you go outside and there's just somebody standing on the corner like, hey, you give me $1 and I let you sit on my ice. I don't see any ice out here, sir. Trust me, there's ice. There's a bag behind you. It's also tough because I feel like it changes relationships too, you know? Like it's so hot, somebody could live so close. But the test of love is which one's leaving their apartment. You know what I mean? You know? Some you'll live next to somebody a 15-minute walk away, but it'll be like, I could die. I can't be doing that just out willy-nilly just for you to see me. We can FaceTime, all right? Like, I feel like even the way people are sexting must be different, you know? You're just texting somebody. middle of the day, like, hey, I got that AC. Oh no, it's not a window unit, babe. We doing central over here. Oh, come through and get chilly, baby. It's like weirdly still sexual, but it's all cooling related. Like, I got popsicles. If you're feeling freaky, we could both just sit in front of the open fridge door. Oh, I was in Philly last weekend and it was so hot. It was in the 90s and it was so hot it made me want to be like a scammer. Like I wanted to just start going to like Zillow open houses. Places I have no intention on putting an offer down on. Just to stand to the AC, be like, oh, 2.5 bath, okay. And we actually have a beautiful patio outside. No, I believe you. I can see it. I can see it through the door. I can see it. No, don't do that. Oh. Sometimes someone that you love very, very much, right? Someone you care about deeply comes to you with a problem. And this problem is something like weighing heavily on them, right? It's taking up all their mental space or anything. And you love this person, right? And they come to you and they're telling you their problem. They're trusting you with whatever it is. And while they're telling you their problem, you realize that it's boring. Don't do that. Don't be good people right now. We've all had somebody come to us, a brother, a sister, an aunt. Someone has come to us, and you, as they're telling you their problem, you're like, I don't give a shit about any of this. Like, why are they even telling me? I can't even help. What are they doing? This is ruining my Saturday. So sometimes someone that you love very, very much, deeply, comes to you with something serious to them that's a real problem, and it's boring. But somehow, overhearing a stranger's problem is always fascinating. I'll give you some examples. So a couple weeks ago, I was on the bus because life ain't going the way you think, right? And so I was on the bus, you know, the people's limousine, right? And I was on the bus and I was holding the rail and another guy next to me was holding the rail, but he had his phone like this, right? Like tucked into his arm. And he was just like, I don't know what to do, all right? I do not know what to do. She keep fucking dudes off Facebook Marketplace. Yes. I'm in. Tell me all. Because this man's on his phone like, I can't even trust her to go get a lamp. A couple days later, I was also on the bus because once again, life could be better, right? We'll get there, but until then, community Uber, right? And As I got on, I sat down next to this guy. Now, this guy is being louder, out loud, than my AirPods can get in my ear. So I don't even feel like I'm eavesdropping now. He offering this up to the class, okay? And so he's putting his phone down when I sat down next to him, but he was, calls somebody else. And basically, he calls this next person and tells them that the person he just got off the phone with was a woman who he had been hooking up with, who just called him to tell him that she was pregnant and she was keeping the baby, right? And I don't know the best place, but the bus is one of the worst places to find out you're gonna be a father, all right? The bus is top 3 bad places to find out you're gonna be a daddy, okay? It goes jail, the toilet, the bus, right? And so this man is like, talking on the phone, and then he goes, yeah, it's wild because we didn't even have sex this year. And I was like, oh no. He's gonna be a father. And they kept talking and they kept talking. Now I can't hear the other person on the other side of the line or anything, but I can just hear the like I can hear that noise is happening, right? And so then they must have asked the question that was on my mind, which was, when was the last time y'all slept together? And it was like, yeah, I haven't even seen her, or like we haven't hooked up since like August of last year. And I was like, uh-oh. He's not about to be a father. Like, oh. Fellas, we gotta start learning at least a little bit about women's bodies. If nothing else, so we can't get fleeced like this. Like, this is... Because this man said, without stuttering, he was like, yeah, she about 10 months along, right? I was like... oh. And then they kept talking, they realized he actually did get the math wrong, right? The math was wrong. It was 11 months. And I was like, okay, so when do I step in now as a stranger, right? Like, when do I step up and step in to help? Because I've been missed my stop. I missed my stop. I missed my stop at 10 months, right? And so I'm at least 11 minutes that way, right? And so finally, I leaned over to him. I was like, hey, bro, I couldn't help but hear, we all heard, I couldn't help but hear, and I have good news and I have bad news. The good news is you're not about to be a father. The bad news is you should maybe never be a father. Ding! You also overhear wild stuff, like the heat changes people for real. Like there are things people do in the heat that they would not do otherwise. Like I was walking my dog, and in the background, like way down the street on the corner, I heard a little kid get into a fight with the ice cream man. Because once again, I'm walking my dog, and just in the distance I hear, nigga, it's a nickel. Even my dog was curious. Like, my dog and I both turned around. And the ice cream man was like, I don't care what it is, you short, little man. And this kid looked up, I don't know how old he was, looked up at the ice cream man, head can't reach the counter, and goes, your dick is short, I want my chocolate. How did we get here? How did these two individuals come together in this moment? Because one, who is this kid? But two, what happens in your life where you become an ice cream man that's really here to nickel and dime these kids? Like, that's really here to like actually buy actual nickels and dimes. Who says to themselves, you know what, I love passing out joy, but you know who needs to be taken down a peg? These children, okay? I'm trying to figure out what type of friend I am. You know, I think I'm a good friend to a certain degree. I feel like if I discover for myself the type of friend that I am, I'll be a better version of that friend to everybody, right? Because I'll know my limits, I'll know what I'm willing to do, what I'm not, and everything. And I'm quickly realizing that I am not the advice friend. Don't come to me. Truly, don't come to me at all, because my advice to you will be directly related to how your problem affects me. I'm trying to let everybody know that now, in case, because you know, you never know. Sometimes you meet someone at the show, y'all become friends in real life, and then maybe they have a problem and they come to me, they're like, Josh, what should I do? I'm telling you right now, I am not objective. I'm not the one, right? Like, for instance, I have a lot of friends that are getting married this summer into the fall, right? So the big wedding season and everything. And so a couple of my friends have come to me, right? And you just need to know, if you're having troubles are normal, right? People get cold feet. People fight a lot leading up to a wedding. The stress, people's families sometimes don't get along. That stress. You know what I mean? Like, all of it is normal. But if you come to me, my advice to you will be directly correlated to if I already bought the gift. Because I had a friend come to me, his wedding was about, 2 weeks out. He was devastated and everything, and he was a good friend, so I had already bought his gift off the registry. It was a Vitamix 3500, so it was, yes. See, exactly, yes. 100%, yes. And so I'd already got that Vitamix, and anytime a relationship seems shaky, I look up the return policy just in case. And this particular model, they didn't carry anymore. So he comes to me, and he's upset and everything, going on, and I'm just looking at the receipt. And so finally, he looking at me to say something. I was like, dog, you love her. Like, she your moon, your stars, all that stuff. Like, everybody cheat, okay? She gonna stop probably, like. I had a different friend come to me, and this friend, the wedding was about like 2 days, like two days out, and my man comes to me, and his problem was very specific, deeply specific. Basically, his fiance and the wedding planner had planned out the whole wedding, pretty much top to bottom. They weren't really asking him for much, but then he was offering up. He was like, is there anything that you need me to do that I can take off your plate? And she was like, no, we got it. And he was like, well, there's got to be something. Like, I want to be involved somehow. And so then she told him that basically they had everything planned down to a T, but he could pick the place mat at the reception, right? Like the little place that, as long as it was in line with the color theme, he could pick that. And so then my buddy poured over for like several days all these like little different, you couldn't even tell the difference between them, all these different placemats and stuff, and was like trying to make a good decision on the right one and everything. And he finally picked one, and basically it seems like maybe she didn't like it because she had the wedding planner change it last minute. And then they didn't really talk about it. So his feelings were kind of hurt because he was like, oh, that was my one thing. And I took some real pride in doing it. And she didn't say anything to me. And it was a destination wedding and I hadn't bought my ticket yet. I hadn't bought my ticket and I hadn't got a gift yet. And so he was telling me about it and I was like, I wouldn't take that if I was you, dog. Like, for real. Sometimes you gotta put your foot down, all right? I've been watching some of the, older people in my life and everything, and it's crazy. My friend, his grandparents were together until his granddad passed away. And his granddad probably passed away at like 85 or something like that. But him and his grandmother got married young. So they were together for like 62 years or something like that. It was crazy. And people always want to know the sort of secrets to staying together and like having that sort of relationship, that bond. And he said that his grandma basically summed it all up very quickly. She was like, if you want to be with somebody for the rest of your life, you have to know and accept that the first year is lust, the next 10 years are love, and everything else after that is spite. And she said spite without missing a beat. Like she's like, that's a secret ingredient. Like every day you wake up and you're like, we go to war. And basically, she tells a story about how the night that his grandpa passed away, they had this routine where his granddad pretty much wouldn't even sleep in the bed anymore. He would sleep in his chair that could recline like his lazy boy, and then he would be falling asleep watching TV or something like that. But on that night, he went to bed with his grandma and he passed away in his sleep. Which is how a lot of people want to go. It's very peaceful, next to somebody you love. And then he wasn't there, but his mom was. And his mom said that when she woke up, she was getting ready and like making breakfast and stuff. And she heard his grandma from the room. And what she heard wasn't like some blood curdling scream or some like cry out or anything. She said she just heard, "Oh!" What? Ooh. And she apparently even said at the funeral that, so many people were coming up to her and telling her how sweet it was that he went to make sure he was laying in bed with her the night that he passed instead of like in his chair or something. And she was like, ain't nothing sweet about it. He did that on purpose. He knew. No, he knew he was gonna die that night. And he wanted to put his cold ass feet on me one more time. because they were cold when they were cold when he was living, but then they were cold, right? And at a certain point, you get used to the cold, and then you turn around and he all. Just laying up there like. And I told him take out that trash, and he didn't do it. I'm old enough now that for me and my group of friends, any guy in my group of friends that still can't like get a girlfriend or something, it's like now it's very clear that it's because of jarring personality flaws. You know what I mean?
Because this is the thing, we were all awkward. So I was 15, I'm an awkward man, but I still figured out parts of life. You know what I mean? So then I'll talk to some of my friends like, man, you just can't figure women out. And I'm like, nah, dog, you 30. Like, this is... Something should be happening. You know what I mean? You can't just be like, I'm scared to talk to girls because women are afraid of you. Like, I don't know what you need to be doing. I don't know if you need therapy or sunlight, but like something has got to give if we gonna keep hanging out. You know? And I think I found one really important thing that's probably one of the biggest things when you move out. Like as a guy, when you go out into the world on your own for the first time to make something of yourself, and when you have your first like domain, right? Your first place where you're like, this is my place. Whether it's an apartment, a house, whatever you have. It's so important. As men, we have to, I cannot stress this enough, we have to invest in at least one stick of furniture, all right? Like, a lack of furniture is killing us out here. Everything cannot be on the floor. I can't say it enough, everything cannot be on the floor. Because when you bring a woman back to your place and then she opened the door and then you walk in and she sees a bowl on the floor, she's like, oof, okay, he gonna kill me. I picked wrong, that was my bad. He didn't even have a murdery face, but... A bowl on the floor makes it look like she not gonna be here long and neither are you. This is where you bring people to kill people. It just, I can't stress it enough. I know that we don't care. We're happy. It takes very little for us to be happy. We're happy. But if you plan on having any female companionship, I don't even mean sex. If you just plan on having female free, then you need to be able to put your things on things. Like, that's not a crazy ask. Just, it's the amount of the amount of friends I have that don't have a chair is so distracting. I understand if you don't have a dining set. I understand if you don't have a bunch of chairs, but you live here. Don't you want to sit? Like, this is just one chair. I don't know. Please don't put your books on the floor. Please do not put your books on the floor. You could have the thickest books. You could have War and Peace and Paradise Lost next to each other. But if they are on the floor, she's gonna be like, he can't read. He can't read. That's a door stop. That's not, he not cracking that open. That's a paperweight. No? You don't even need books. If you had a bookshelf and put 2 magazines on, she'd be like, what a cultured individual. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, the amount of friends I have that are oblivious about this. Like, I'll have a buddy call me, I'll ask him about his day. I'm like, how'd your day go? He's like, man, it was all right. We were having a good time, went out for dinner and everything. Then she get back to my place, she want to get all uppity and leave. I was like, you brought her to your place. You brought her to the place that we hang out. You brought her to the place that I've been, where you live, where you sleep. I'm surprised she didn't call the police. Because that's my thing, it's just, where your things are in relation to the floor is where it looks like you are in life. So I'm just saying, just elevate, just to table height, just elevate. There are good men. There are good-looking men that are good men that are a good table away from a good woman. All right, you're so close. It's not even your personality. It's the fact that it's the fact that it looks like you live outside, inside. That is what is doing you in. Like I get it. I was broke. When I moved to Chicago, I had no money, and I got my first place, and I slept on an air mattress, which was the floor. The air separating you between the floor and where you are, that's not real bed. That's floor. It is floor. I can admit that. That's floor, right? So I was sleeping on the floor with some comfort, okay? So I get it. When you go out into the world on your own for the first time, make something of yourself, you may not have all the money, you may not come from money, you may not have resources. I'm not telling you to get the whole IKEA setup immediately or anything. I'm just saying you should have enough furniture that if you bring a woman back to your place, you have just enough going on to look like you were robbed. That's all I'm saying. Just when you bring her back to your place and you have to make the bookshelf everything, you gotta make it the kitchen cabinet, so then she sees a bunch of forks on the bookshelf and her face starts to screw up, you can turn around and be like, they got me. They got me. I knew this wasn't a good neighborhood, okay? Let's go to your place where it's safe, baby girl. Do you know what I mean? Okay. I have to leave soon. Did y'all see the Alaska flight? The Alaska Airlines, okay, if you didn't see it, basically a piece of window popped off of the flight, mid-flight, it was still flying, it was still in the air, and some window came off, and then just a bunch of plane came off, like a door's worth of plane, it might have been the door, a door's worth of plane came off, and I have been so shaken, because we've been shitting on Spirit for a minute. We really let Spirit have it all, and they have not had one of these happen. The whole plane get there with you when you fly Spirit. Like the plane that left is the plane that arrives. And you. That didn't seem like a lot to ask before, but now you really gotta wonder, right? And it just is so crazy, because I know there were people screaming in videos and people crying and stuff like that, but by and large, everybody was so calm. It makes me wonder if if it's an American thing, if we are so bloody, if we are just so traumatized from life in America that a plane can start to come apart mid-flight and you're like, well, I did pay $68, so I guess that's fair, that makes sense. I didn't pay for the whole plane to get here, you know what I mean? I paid for just me, and right now I'm still headed there, so I guess they're fulfilling their contractual obligation to get me somewhere. I don't know. I guess I didn't pay to survive. I just gave them the money to get on. So I should specify next time that I want to get there in one piece as well as the plane. Yeah. Blown away. Because that's the worst airline for it to happen on. Because they don't. Imagine if you taking a nap, you mid-nap, right? Because you got a nap on an Alaskan flight. You have to, because they don't have the TVs. They don't have the TV, so the only thing to entertain you is your dreams. All right. So then you go to sleep, and then you wake up, and everybody's screaming, and it is louder, right? It is just louder in here now, and a little cold, because we are in space. That is way too high to be losing some plane. Do you know what I mean? And everyone was so calm, even in the post-interview after, when they landed, and then they were asking people what it felt like, what was happening. There was one woman, I understand that she was probably nervous, and so she was nervous giggling, but there was one woman who was acting like it was a Six Flags ride. Like, she was just like, yeah, and then a little piece came off, and then, I don't know, we were all like, what do we do? You know, and like, I don't know, I had no idea. Like, it was so crazy. This has never happened before. Like, has it happened to you before? I don't know. I've been on Greyhound buses where people got more upset about a dump in the bathroom than these people got about a piece of plane flying off. As Americans, we gotta start acting like we used to something. Like, This is really distressing that they beat us bloody so much in our travel experiences that we're like, yeah, I guess I'll choose aisle from now on. Do you know what I mean? That's what's up. Because then one of the most amazing things, this is a miracle. This is a genuine miracle. I'm very happy that no one on the flight was hurt. But then there were two seats. The two seats next to where the plane decided to stop being a plane. Those two seats were empty because those two people missed their flight, which is incredible, right? You love a story like that. It does make me wonder about that third person, because that means that third person was sitting there. Like, did they take a nap and just wake up like, what the fuck? What the fuck? Like, where do you go from here? Okay, so I'm going to Montana this weekend, and both my flights were Alaska. Both of them were Alaska. And I didn't even have enough self-respect to switch airlines. They had to call me. They had to call me. At midnight last night, they had to call me and be like, it's not gonna happen, dog. Like, that's the closest to a breakup I felt in a long time. Like, I didn't have the self-respect to leave, and then they had to be like, you not for us, okay?
When I